Welcome to Community Involvement and Landowner Outreach. My name is Mike Smulligan. I'm a forester with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and in this session, we'll take a closer look at community involvement. Today we're taking a look at SFI's Fiber Sourcing Standard Objective 7, which is Community Involvement and Landowner Outreach. And as we explore this concept, we'll find that this community involvement is really talking about engaging with your local community, but also participating in the larger forest products community here throughout the entire state of Michigan. So here you can see on the left the language of Objective 7, Community Involvement and Landowner Outreach, where the Sustainable Forestry Initiative wants all of its participants to broaden the practice of sustainable forestry with public outreach, education, community involvement, and supporting the efforts of the SFI Implementation Committee, which delivers SFI here in Michigan. And on the right, you can see a couple of examples of public outreach and landowner education, community involvement, and a little bit more information about the SFI Implementation Committee. And we'll take a closer look at all of these in the next few slides. So each of the standards has performance measures that further explain what that standard looks like. And here we have the first performance measure 7.1, which elaborates on how participants in SFI are to engage with community involvement. And you can see here that SFI wants all of their participants to work with a whole bunch of different organizations and agencies, both private sector organizations and public agencies and local community groups and university extension offices and other certification programs like Tree Farm, recognizing that sustainable forest management really is a team effort and none of us can do this alone. And one of the major aspects of community is collaborating with each other and helping each other succeed and working together. And so Performance Measure 7.1 is really showcasing how we all need to work together and be part of the larger community to promote sustainable forest management here in Michigan. Now here's a list of some of those same types of organizations, but the Michigan version of all of those. So we've got the Michigan Association of Consulting Foresters, and we've got the long list of government agencies like the DNR and the Forest Service and the Department of Agriculture, the NRCS, DEQ, which is now EGLE, the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, working, with forests and forest management. We've got the Michigan Association of Timbermen and the Michigan Forest Products Council, organizations like the Great Lakes Timber Producers Association. A whole lot of really good private sector conservation organizations to work with. Huron Pines or Conservation Resource Alliance and the Upper Peninsula Superior Watershed Partnership and many other types of organizations that are working on forests here in Michigan. We've got 12 sovereign tribes that are here in Michigan that we can work with on forestry issues. Local organizations like Kiwanis and the Lions Club, Chamber of Commerce, all kinds of hunting and fishing and sportsmen's organizations like Trout Unlimited or Ducks Unlimited, Quality Deer Management Association, Michigan United Conservation Clubs, the UP Sportsmen's Alliance, all kinds of really good hunting groups that are interested in forest management. We've got Michigan State and Michigan Tech, Gogebic Community College that are all involved with training foresters and interested in forest management. Got some landowner groups like the Michigan Forest Association and the American Tree Farm System. These are all organizations here in Michigan that we in SFI can partner with here to promote sustainable forest management in Michigan. So each of the performance measures also has some indicators that further elaborate on these performance measures. And here we have indicator 7.1.1, where participants in SFI are asked to support the implementation committee. And the major mills that are certified through SFI do financially contribute to the implementation committee to provide the funding that offers this training today for loggers and truckers and other qualified logging professionals. So these major companies like Weyerhaeuser and Verso and Louisiana Pacific and Potlatch and Packaging Corporation are all contributing financially to the implementation committee, as are other some large landowners that are SFI certified. The DNR, Lime, Timber, Hancock, Mulpus, TRG are all large landowners that have their land certified through SFI here in Michigan. And all of those landowners participate on the implementation committee, even though it's the forest products companies that are the major financial contributors. So indicator 7.1.4 wants participants in the Sustainable Forestry Initiative to participate in stakeholder opportunities to give input to how we manage forests. And one of the ways that all SFI participants have an opportunity to participate in this type of a process is the Department of Natural Resources is often looking for input from partners and stakeholders in not only how we manage our public forests here in Michigan, but also how the DNR tries to influence private forest lands and community forests throughout the state. And so in 2020, the DNR is updating its Forest Action Plan. This document on the right is the 2010 Forest Action Plan, and that is being updated in 2020. And many SFI companies and the SFI Implementation Committee has been involved with giving input to the DNR on updating its Forest Action Plan in 2020. And all loggers and truckers and all SFI participants are welcome to give their input on these types of public planning efforts to define good forest management here in Michigan. Indicator 7.1.5 says that SFI participants are going to collaborate with the implementation committee to encourage forest landowners to participate in forest certification programs. Here in Michigan, large ownerships, 10,000 acres and higher, are often certified through the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, whereas tree farm, the American tree farm system, is really focused on the smaller landowners, the 10 to 10,000 acre ownerships. And so SFI Implementation Committee works closely with the Michigan Tree Farm Committee to help landowners participate in tree farm and get certified through the American Tree Farm System. Performance measure 7.3 says that all SFI program participants are able to raise concerns and to provide input to SFI Implementation Committee about any problems that they've seen out there in the woods or at the mill, and to identify any practices that are inconsistent with SFI's fiber sourcing standard or its forest management standard or its chain of custody standard. So it's important for forest certification to be transparent and to have continual improvement. And so it's necessary for people and SFI participants to be able to raise any concerns and to have those concerns evaluated by the SFI Implementation Committee. Here in Michigan, the SFI Implementation Committee has established a 1-800 number, a hotline, where anyone in the state of Michigan can report inconsistent practices. Scott Robbins with the Sustainable Forestry Initiative here in Michigan is the person that answers that phone. And Scott says that it's pretty rare, just a couple of times a year, that people report inconsistent practices. But every time a practice that is reported or an event is reported, the SFI Implementation Committee takes it seriously and follows up on that and finds more information and addresses the situation and reports back to the person that reported that inconsistent practice the results of the investigation. So it's very important for the Sustainable Forestry Initiative to be very transparent about addressing any problems and getting better at the things that we're doing, because continual improvement improvement is one of SFI's 14 principles, and we need to be able to identify problems if we're going to fix them and get better at what we do. Indicator 7.3.2 says that the SFI Implementation Committee is going to submit an annual report to the National SFI, letting SFI National know the activities of the SFI committee of that year and any problems that were addressed in that year. And so the Michigan Implementation Committee submits an annual report every year, and you as qualified logging professionals and SFI participants are certainly have access to see that report and to see what SFI is submitting on its annual report every year. And SFI welcomes your contribution to the good things and the things that need to be improved here in Michigan. So, in summary, SFI is very interested in community involvement and landowner outreach, and we want all SFI participants and qualified logging professionals to be investing in both your local community as well as the statewide forestry community, and partnering with the many other organizations and agencies that are promoting sustainable forest management here in Michigan.